The name Indian Scout has oodles of heritage attached to itself. And the Indian Scout 60 is the manufacturer's attempt to have more people adopting the brand with a motorcycle in its own lineup that is better accessible. The Indian Scout 60, if not for the slightly smaller engine by way of using a different bore and stroke and the slightly different gearbox which now has just 5 gears, is essentially the same motorcycle as the Scout. Visually, it is much less bling, with the guys at Indian Motorcycles opting to reduce the amount of chrome used quite drastically. Now, the reduced engine capacity of course sees reduced power figures. The 60-degree V-twin now produces 78 horses of power and a pleasant 88.8 Nm of torque. These may not be numbers to boast about, but the blokes at Indian Motorcycles have made sure that these are usable figures. Out on the highway, the Scout 60 sits at a comfortable cruise of 110 km/h at a very relaxed 3300 rpm. It still has a lot of power left for that swift overtake, and in fact it can actually do serious speeds of 160 and above, but you never really feel like doing that. In true cruiser style, you just want to ride on that wave of torque and stay around that 110 km/h mark. Either ways, above 120 in top gear, you would ideally need better wind protection, and there is a slight vibe that creeps in. But like we just said, the Scout 60 is best at riding the pleasant wave of torque and enjoying the low rumble from the V-twins. If you're in a hurry though, the Scout 60 will propel you from standstill to 100 in less than 6 seconds, and that's plenty for a cruiser in this range. The rather small tank capacity of 12.5 liters did raise an eyebrow, but we soon realized that the machine is quite economical and returned an average of about 20 km to the liter. But the overall highlight of the engine and its performance has to be its refinement and how the company has managed to mix technology like ride-by-wire, liquid cooling and fuel injection in what still looks and feels like a very classic and retro package. The words cruiser and handling usually do not belong in the same sentence, but the Scout 60 manages to do a better job than most cruisers out there. But as any typical cruiser, it is not far before you start scraping the pegs. As expected, highways are where it is at its best, but it handles city conditions just fine. Just be prepared to take those super wide lines for turns and U-turns. And if you're doing a lot of city riding, be prepared for the slightly heavy clutch pull. The seat height is a low 643 mm, so your legs are always planted firm. But shorter riders will find the reach to the handlebars a bit much and also need to watch out for the hot exhaust pipes on the side. That said, overall seating is quite comfortable and continuous rides of 100+ km can be easily dispatched without much stress. Suspensions though probably could have been a tad bit better. The front suspension is at most decent and the rear reminds you of its low travel of 76 mm every time you hit a rough patch. Coming to the braking, there are 298 mm discs at both ends and these are backed up by ABS. And although they are not exceptionally great, they do the job and keep you confident. The large profile 16-inch tires at both ends perform well during dry conditions, but lack a little bit of confidence in the wet. The Indian Scout 60 is a very well made motorcycle. There are no shoddy wells, no compromises, and you just know what is there will last. If not for some of the exposed Y bits near the headlight, we really would have given it 10 on 10 in that department. And even though there are the design decisions that clearly show the cost cutting, the Scout 60 is by far ahead of its competitors. If you want the bling and the associated presence of a big macho cruiser, then probably the Scout 60 is not for you. It is meant for the open roads where you just settle into a comfortable cruise with a song in your head and smile as the miles go by. The Indian Scout 60 is all about keeping it simple, and that it does very well. But at a price of 12 lakhs ex-showroom, it is quite pricey.